Hello and welcome to See Here. Today's programme is all about people who overcome obstacles in different ways. Coming up later in the programme, we meet a dancer from Armenia. He's a winner on national television in his home country, and he happens to be deaf. We start today's programme with See Here visiting Westminster in London for a special event. People gathered to discuss a new bill, the government's Care Bill. It had its final reading last month. This bill is of particular interest to deaf-blind people, many of whom rely on round-the-clock care for a reasonable standard of living. We went to find out more.
It is estimated that there are around 250,000 deaf-blind people living in the UK. Being deaf and blind means you need a lot of support and care. The trouble is, everyone's different, and so the support and care people need varies. Many deaf-blind people can only survive if they have a sighted assistant. Janice is deaf-blind and has recently had both hips replaced. She finds the help and support of her guide invaluable, especially because she has an active 7-year-old daughter, Mary Elizabeth.
There's like a big tree opposite the pond, and she's having a climb up the tree now.
Mummy, I'm stuck!
Well, yeah, just that.
Mary said she's stuck.
Oh no!
She's sitting in the crook of a branch. That's it.
Good girl. Go on then.
Can we go to the park? The lady will be near me.
What?
She's saying, can she go into the play area because the lady will be with her?
We've got one thing,
You
Mary.
can sit on the bench. Okay, I'm going to go on one thing.
And now she's there's a climbing wall sort of effect. So it's got blocks that you climb on.
Oh, okay. I was born with various disabilities, but I was born visually impaired. So I had useful sight. I also had useful hearing. I started to train and swim for Great Britain, culminating in the 92 Paralympic Games in Barcelona, where I won 2 silvers with the girls from the 2 relays. So that was obviously a very exciting time for me. In the year 1999-2000, I was defined as deaf-blind. I've got no eyesight whatsoever. My hearing had deteriorated further, which necessitated in the implant of bone anchor hearing aids. The definition of deaf-blindness is when someone has a combined sight and hearing loss, which means they have difficulties on a day-to-day basis with mobility, access to information and communication. So it's having those 3 elements of difficulty throughout your everyday life. Okay, down the step, cool. Bye, see you later.
An everyday activity like picking your daughter up from school can be quite a challenge and almost impossible without the support of her guide.
And then we're going over a gully, drain gully.
Who's this?
Yeah. No, I think it's the teacher. Right, there's a step up into the door. Okay.
Hello, Mary.
Mary's getting a coat. She's got a book bag.
Okay.
Just to let you know, Mary Elizabeth bumped her head today in the playground. She's fine, but
Yeah.
I'll just need to let you have a bumped head letter. I'll give it to you in your hand there. Okay?
Brilliant.
Thank you very much. But other
Brilliant.
than that, she's had a fantastic day.
So it's just looking out for any signs of concussion then, any headaches
Yes.
or dizziness.
When did she do it? This
At
morning?
lunchtime.
Ah.
At lunchtime.
You right, Mary?
Yeah.
Had a good day at school then?
Yeah.
Mary, you're not going too far in front of me, I hope.
Yeah.
That's still the rules.
About 5 metres away. Certainly within sight.
In 2006, we had our daughter, Mary Elizabeth, so it was obvious I needed a lot more support. When Mary was a newborn and I was at home, I was given something like 45 hours a week support. But then, as soon as I went back to work and I had to send Mary to a childminder, that coverage was cut to 28 hours a week. And that's what it's been ever since.
Quite solid little dogs.
In the daytime, I get no support at all unless any of my support workers can be flexible. So if I wanted to take Mary out in the daytime, ordinarily I wouldn't be able to unless I sacrificed hours here or paid for extra there. And then I have to work around my husband's shift work because, of course, my husband does a lot. He does everything when he's here, but he does work shifts being a train driver.
Janice is just one example of a deaf-blind person. How does the government design a care bill that caters to all deaf-blind people? Sense, a deaf-blind charity, organised an event at Westminster to debate the care bill and give deaf-blind people the chance to talk to their MPs to get the bill right.
To meet your MP, which is fantastic. Today is about deaf-blind people and their families having their say about what matters to them in the future of social care, trying to make sure that the reforms work as well as possible for deaf-blind people.
Liz Ball has organised today's event. She's an active campaigner and deaf-blind herself, so has first-hand experience of the challenges deaf-blind people face.
Deaf-blind people face a lot of barriers in everyday life, but feel that they can't do anything about those. I feel very passionately that deaf-blind people need to play an active part in solving those problems, need to learn to speak out and be a force for change.
This event can influence the bill and improve the picture for deaf-blind people. But what care and support do deaf-blind people want?
Deaf-blind people are a cross-section of society, so have the same diversity, but in addition to that, very different in terms of their communication needs, their mobility needs, the way they access information, the support that they need.
I need most care with my personal everyday needs, such as cooking, cleaning, making sure that I've got clean clothes. But I also have, and I also need, an element of social care, going out, meeting people. I also do a lot of volunteer work. I'm a member of a number of forums, which without sighted support, I'd find very difficult.
I have very high, complex physical and medical needs, as well as my deaf-blindness and mental health needs. It's also been challenging to find and recruit appropriate people, so at times that has resulted in gaps in my support too, so that's provided an additional challenge for me.
How will the new care bill address these problems? See here asks Sue Brown from Sense.
So the care bill is going to change the law on social care for adults in England. So for deaf-blind people, social care is what provides support like communicator guides, specialist equipment through an assessment from social services. It's going to change all of the laws around how those assessments take place and all of the surrounding regulations and guidance. If a deaf-blind person is assessed by someone who doesn't really understand deaf-blindness, then you end up with the wrong results and the wrong services in place, or possibly no services at all. So it's critical that deaf-blind people are specifically addressed in those regulations.
Another family with a vested interest in the care bill are Sue and her two sons, Luke and Ben. Both Luke and Ben have been diagnosed as deaf-blind. Luke is a wheelchair user, and they both have different additional needs. A simple walk to the shop to buy lunch requires 2 additional carers.
We need bread now. Which one? Ben is quite an able person, but because of his deafness and his poor sight, he needs a lot of support. He also has slight spasticity, which means that his coordination is bad. So all those things need a lot of support, particularly around communication. Because without communication, if you can imagine what life would be like if you couldn't communicate with anybody, it's pretty difficult, and not just difficult, it causes Ben an awful lot of emotional problems and frustration. Because he wasn't introduced to signing until he was 8 or 9 years old, he wasn't introduced to any communication. He doesn't sign like a deaf person, but he does sign well enough to communicate his needs. And he absolutely needs it for receptive communication. He understands signing, he doesn't understand speech. So that's very important for him. Anything to do with cooking, he does need help with. Pouring out drinks, using sharp knives, although he is well aware that they're sharp, but he needs somebody to watch that he's not putting himself in danger. When it comes to going out, he would not go out on his own. It's too scary. He's been known to have a panic attack if he's in a place where he doesn't know because of his sight and his hearing. You can't see that somebody's deaf, and with Ben you can't even see that he has a sight problem. He has been knocked over on the pavement before now by a bike, and the man on the bike said, "But I rang my bell." You know, people are not aware of the kind of problems that he has. Ben's brother Luke has many more needs than Ben. He is deaf, he's blind. The only use his sight is lights in a darkened room. He has a profound learning disability and a spastic quadriplegia as well, so he uses a wheelchair. I hate to describe him like that because Luke is a really happy, sociable young man who just loves life. He has 14 hours a day one-to-one support, and the rest is shared support.
As a parent of 2 deaf-blind children, Sue struggled along for many years on her own until she found adequate support.
When I found Sense, I just felt it was almost like joining a family. I didn't have to explain why Ben wouldn't walk across a drain on the pavement, why Luke would shake his head around from side to side or poke his eyes because of the sensation that he got from that. It was lovely. But apart from that, the things I got from them was a real holiday for one week a year, where I knew they would have the right support, where they would enjoy themselves. And just the other things, if I have any worries, particularly around things like changing in care, I can have a word with their legal department. There's always somebody there that I can talk to give me some advice, and that's what I need.
Sue went along to the event at Westminster to debate the care bill.
When I went up to the lobby of Parliament for the new care bill, I was determined that I should get my point across to the people who are making those decisions, partly because I have fought all my life for my sons. And the problem is I have no security. If this bill doesn't say the right things, we could be back where Ben and Luke don't get the support they need. And I was determined that they should understand why they need communication support and how important that is. And actually linked to that, why they need one-to-one. To get the right support, they need the right assessment. But at the moment, there is no rule to say that the person has to have the assessment done by somebody who understands deaf-blindness. And that's really important.
Appropriate assessments are a common concern among deaf-blind people and their carers.